Hey, so do you want to, Jeff? Do you want to bring in our Anish? Can you bring in our volunteers? Hey, Lucas and David, Isabella, Taylor, you can turn your cameras on, and we can start our conversation. Quite looking forward to this. See where we go here. What's up, y'all? And so, Joy, we'll get one more person. And once again, if you want to join this is going to be a different kind of class, I have to say. I want to emphasize because I got completely bogged down today and just was not able to move in the kind of direction I wanted to. But it's actually kind of good that it's going to be a little bit more of an open conversation, and I'm going to be a little bit of an iconoclast in the sense that I want to really call into questions some things. So David, let me just start with you. So where are you? Are you in State College right now?
Yeah, I am actually.
Yeah. And what's your last name?
Jardot. It's French, actually.
Jardot.
Yeah. Everybody says Jardot, but there's only a few people who actually say Jardot. So.
Jardot.
Yeah.
Like waiting for Jardot.
Yeah. My mom used to say like Germany. So like the G like Germany. So.
Yeah, Jardot. Yeah, very cool. And where are you from here in
So I was born in New York, but I've lived in New Jersey now for like 9 to 10 years. So it's the longest I've lived.
Yeah, dude, it's the same. New York, New Jersey, it's the same, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
New York is better in my opinion, but
yeah. Well, Isabella, how about you? Where are you in State College? You look like you're in a student apartment.
No, I'm actually at home. I go to campus tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was a student apartment. You're in a student bedroom, so all good. Hey, and what's your background?
I was born in Florida. My family's from America, I guess. But now we live in Virginia.
What's your ancestry?
So my mom is white and my dad is African American. But we actually did our 23andMe, and I'm like 62% like German and French, and then like 34% Nigerian and like West African around there. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that's wild. So is your dad identifies as African American or Nigerian American?
African American, yeah.
So 23andMe, by the way, they took their DNA markers from that particular western area of Nigeria, and it's really easy to collect data. It's easier to collect data in Nigeria, and they collected most of their data right around in Nigeria. So, okay, very cool. Yeah, yes. And Lucas, what's up?
What's up,
dude? Lipinski, you're a Polak.
Yeah. Well, I'm half Polish, half Middle Eastern.
Polish. Yeah, what's the other half?
Middle Eastern.
Yeah, what is your where in the Middle East?
Like I'm a Syrian, so it's like not really like a country, just like an ethnic group.
Yep.
Kind of like northern Iraq.
Yep, got you. So are you Kurdish or what?
It's Assyrian. Like they're not really there anymore.
Assyrian.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I thought you said Syrian. Okay, cool. Yeah, Assyrian. Okay, cool. Hey, so who's Polish? Your mom or your dad?
They both are.
Yeah. Do they clean a lot?
My mom cleans so much. Like
dude.
Every day she's cleaning something. I feel like it's the only way she can think.
Listen, unless you just love messiness, my advice to anybody in the world is if you love cleanliness and organization, don't marry a Polish person, and a Polish Virgo is even better. Wow. Dude, I didn't realize that. So Lori, my wife, is half Polish and half Irish, and she used to clean. So when we moved in together, she would once a week we'd clean the apartment, and here in State College, and she would take all the books off all the bookshelves and dust behind them and put them back on, man. And one day I said, dude, how much dust is underneath and behind those books? You do it every week. We have no dust in the apartment. And she's like, I don't know. I just do it. It's in my DNA. It's what I have to do. It's crazy. But anyway, awesome, man. Are you clean?
No, not at all.
So when we lived in Poland for a bit, and unbelievable the amount of cleaning that happens in Poland, man. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Very clean.
It's deep. Hey, all right, cool. Taylor, how you doing? Where are you right now? Wait, we can't hear you. Hang on, for some reason we can't hear you. You're muted, but we can't hear you. We didn't test your mic. Now you're muted. So now you're muted. There, you're unmuted. Let's give it a shot. No, we don't have you. Go down to the. Hey, Joy, can you help her out? Go to the mic setting, that little upward arrow next to it. Make sure that you've got your system microphone on. If you're using a laptop, internal microphone is connected. Yeah. See that? Try it now. No, we don't have it. Hey, Joy, can you bring her into the production channel? Can we try that and try to get her? I'd like to have Taylor in on this. Okay, y'all listen. Taylor, we're gonna try to work it out, okay, with you. So Joy, you got that? So Joy and team, I'm gonna assume that you're gonna work it out with Taylor. Bring her in the production channel and have her get her microphone working, and then send her back into the Zoom channel. Got it? So Taylor, just look in the chat right now. You're gonna see a link in our chat right here. Go to that link, and you can get out of this call. Hey, all right. So you got that chat, Joy? Put the link to the production channel in the chat of this call, or Jeff or Nish or somebody. Damn. You got that? I'm not seeing it in there, my friends. Not in Twitch. Put it in the Zoom chat, in the Zoom meeting that we are in. Taylor just got out. All right. Hey, listen, Jeff, can you put the next, the three words? I want to talk about whiteness, and there are three words that I want to talk about, y'all. You can leave your mics unmuted at this point because it sounds like I think we'll probably be okay. I want to talk about white supremacy, white privilege, and white power. And can you all jump into can you define those words? Because these are words that we throw around a lot in this world, and in this world that we're in. And I just want to. Can you all just, who wants to go first? David, can you just what's white supremacy, man? When you hear that word, how do you think about it in your head?
When I hear it like that, it basically just gives white people the stereotype that everything's just handed to them, and they don't have to work for it, while other people have to work harder to achieve some kind of goal that they're looking for.
So white people have stuff handed to them in some way.
Yeah, that's the stereotype when you hear white privilege and white supremacy. So.
Okay, let's stick with white supremacy right now. What does that in particular mean?
I would say that it just means that they're it kind of sounds just when you hear it, just means that they're have this stereotype that they're more superior, but that's the common misconception.
Okay, all right. Lucas, how about you? Where's when you hear that word, where's it come from? What's it?
I think just racist that. Some people just believe white people are better for certain reasons than other races.
White people think they are, or they are better?
Well, white people think they are.
So people who have a white supremacist ideology or way of thinking think that they are better.
Yeah.
And Isabella, better in what ways?
I think better in ways that, they just think that they're superior than a lot of other people. And
how so superior in what way? So the part of you that's white, half of you that's white, or 60% is better than the other, is superior than the other half on the basis of what?
I don't know.
That's very funny, by the way.
But like, I guess like they just think that, or I don't want to say think, because a lot of the like white supremacists like believe that they are superior and that they are better than a lot of other people because they're like, I guess, the pure form, or like they don't have like anything, like they see other people, like colored people, as like dirty or something like that sometimes, and so them having a lighter complexion and being white makes them better.
Yep. Okay, got you. All right. Taylor, is your mic, are we rocking your mic?
I think so.
Dude, awesome, man. Hey, by the way, where are you from? Really quick, we got to bring you back.
I'm from Northern Virginia, right outside of DC. I've lived here for a good minute.
The Northern Virginia. All right, man. So listen. Hey, by the way, Isabella just said colored people. What did you think about that?
I mean, personally, I don't try to get too caught up on, specific words that people use. Most of the time it's not used with like malintent, so I don't see much of an issue with it. Like,
what if Lucas had said it?
I probably wouldn't have thought any different. I'm not a very like, I don't get caught up on specific things that people say, more of like what their intention was. And I know like sometimes it's hard to find the correct word. So colored people doesn't really like offend me.
Yeah, so like in Virginia when white people say, y'all colored people all talking about whatever, right? That you're cool with
I actually don't experience that a lot because like where I am is very diverse.
It's very diverse, and it's also you don't have that accent that I just did, really.
Yeah, not anymore. I went to speech therapy when I was a kid and got rid of that accent.
Oh, come on, man. Like, damn. But I mean, people in Northern Virginia, that's not really the thing. Hey, I'm just kicking it out there because I know that, like, for example, when we're in the classroom in 100 Thomas, and if a white person ever says colored people, you hear this just like it's like the air, the oxygen gets sucked out of the room, and there's like kind of like, oh my God, one of those things. Is pretty funny. I'm not funny. It is what it is, right? And so I'm just having fun with it right now. But you know who says colored people all the time? I swear, I always have this idea that they'll bring it back. Is Asian people, man. Especially Chinese people, because when you're learning English, people of color and colored people, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Like but here they mean very different things.
My family uses it all the time, and it's more of like a funny thing. They'll be like, "Oh, can't stand these coloreds," and it's usually just like we laugh it off. It's nothing that we take too seriously.
Does anybody have, so some people in the class are asking right now, some people are asking, okay, so what's the deal with colored people, right? Because it is this thing like, hey, hang on. Wait, I'm going to do a PSA for white people here. White people. And when you're talking about black and brown people, especially black people, it's probably, wait, hang on one second. Hang on. I'm going to zoom my microphone in a little bit. So there, so people can really see me. White people, when you're talking about black and brown people, and especially black people, and especially if you're in a mixed audience, don't say colored people. All right, like just don't say it. And Isabella's gonna, or someone's on the screen is gonna tell us why. All right, there it is. Why is that? Anybody want to venture to guess? Isabella, do you have an idea? I mean, what it is about that word?
I feel like I didn't mean it in a mouth. Like
no, I don't. I'm just having fun with you because you're half black and half white. No, we're just having fun here. Don't in any way feel like you're on the spot. This is so awesome. This is what it is. Like, dude, race relations is this complex network of do's and don'ts, rights and wrongs, and like, oh my God. And so like what I need data, and then when I get data, then I can talk about something, right? So it's like whenever we're in the classroom and the first person says colored people, it's like, okay, now we're going to go off and we're going to talk about this. So do you know why it is that why I would do that as a PSA, which by the way, if you're not in the know, that means public service announcement. So
well, I think like colored people, like it comes from like a derogatory term in a way, like when there was like segregation, like, and like with Jim Crow laws and everything, you would have like the colored people water fountain, or the colored people like restrooms and everything like that. And so I think kind of, I guess that's where it stems from, being like inappropriate and not able to, like, you don't want to use that word, I guess.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. Anybody else? David, Lucas, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think Isabella said it pretty well. Like, kind of stems back to like Jim Crow era. So like a white person uses it, it kind of taps into that easier than if some of a different race used it.
So Lucas, do you know not to, do you ever use the word? Do you ever say that?
No.
When did you learn not to say colored people?
I think I never really was taught to like call like people of color that.
Yeah.
Just kind of like people referred to like either call them by their race.
Yeah.
Or like we're just a general term for it.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal, right? Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I like what both of you are saying. So it actually was never a derogatory word ever, right? And so y'all, like, I've lived through this whole thing. So when I was your age, we still said colored people. It was fine, right? It was but then at some point it kind of got equivalent. It was sort of like equivalent of like minorities, right? And I think there's this way in which it became like what Taylor, you just said. People started using it in a kind of like a black and brown people started using those two words like in a funny derogatory way to almost like mimic or mock white people, like colored people and minorities and so on. And at some point in time, it sort of shifted that they're just other words. Like we just stopped using it when we started saying people of color. And people of color, black and brown people, started to increasingly say people of color or black people or brown people or Hispanic or whatever it is, right? And stopped using colored people. And then slowly, and I don't know, this is really kind of weird, right? But slowly, it's not like the N-bomb or something, but slowly it just sort of morphed over into something that you don't say. And then recently, like as part of the public conversation, you just learn that the only black and brown people, the only black people you ever heard say colored people were like old black people. You know what I mean? They would actually use it, and like not in a kind of a funny way. And then so slowly it morphed over into a word that was actually derogatory or negative. And truthfully, it never really was derogatory in Jim Crow because it was just what it was. It was white people and colored people, right? And no one ever saw it in a derogatory way. But somehow it just morphed into that. And then when that happens, it's one of these words that you just don't say anymore. And it's like, oh, okay. And if you're not staying up on the debate, like if you're not staying up on the conversations that we're having, it's like being part of the queer community, right? If you're not staying up on that, you're not really aware of like what words to say and what not to say. And if you don't realize it, you start using words that you used like 20 or 30 years ago, but because you haven't kept up in the conversation, you don't realize that we just don't use those words anymore. And then you sound like you're old and you sound like you're out of date. And then when you sound like you're out of date in the world of race relations, you sound like you're a racist. So then I now hear people say, colored people is a racist term. And I'm like, holy shit, when did that become a racist? It's not a racist term, you know what I mean? But it was never a racist term, but it becomes like that, you see. Just pretty, but this is, by the way, everybody, this is why it's really difficult to be part of these conversations related to race, ethnicity, gender, and so on, right? Because you really have to stay up on things, or else you have a conversation and you don't know, Okay, anyway, I'm done with that. All right, so, hey, can we talk about white privilege? What's white privilege? Taylor, can we start with you?
When I think of white privilege, I just mostly think of the fact that people who are of lighter pigmentation, and I even kind of associate with light skin privilege as well, is like people who are lighter are given either more opportunities or they just have less difficulties like in social aspects or even sometimes in like professional aspects, and they're kind of given I don't even know how to say it. They're kind of given more leeway to do certain things, or they're given different opportunities than people who are maybe of like darker skin tones are given.
Okay. All right. Hey, David, how about you? White privilege.
I mean, she kind of covered a lot of what I agree with, but if you think of it kind of like in terms of like a job, maybe you might see that in like statistics and stuff that more white people are given more opportunities for like leadership jobs. At least that's how it used to be in the past. And then like now when we're kind of like bringing in more diversity and culture, you start to see like people of different people of different color and people who are considered like minorities start to like take those leadership positions and kind of cancel out that white privilege stereotype.
So let me ask you this. So you think, so in other words, you think white privilege is something that was more kind of common, or
yeah.
Or how much white privilege do you have?
I'm mostly white. My mom was Venezuelan, like she still is. She was born there. She only lived there for a little bit of her life, but her parents lived in Venezuela like their whole lives. And she still speaks fluent Spanish, and she has 3 sisters who are also Venezuelan. So my dad was from Queens, New York, so I follow more of like that. The only like Hispanic genes I get from my mom is I get tan in the summer. That's kind of it. Like I'm terrible at speaking Spanish in that kind of area, and my dancing for Spanish is terrible. But like my aunts tell me that all the time. But
you can't do the merengue and
yeah.
salsa.
But I still get to see like different kinds of things that like my mom's side of the family does differently than like my dad's side per se.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. So Lucas, you're a white dude, right? Half Polish, half what's your other half? Assyrian, that's right, man. Assyrians are mostly white. I mean, they look white, right?
But I don't know. I haven't really met another Assyrian person.
Yeah, okay. Well, you look half Assyrian, by the way.
Thank you.
You don't look half Polish. You don't look any Polish at all. You sort of have a Joker smile, but otherwise.
Yeah, I heard that before.
Yeah. All right. So listen, man. How much? Can you say something about David's white privilege? David's white privilege. Look at him, man.
I mean, like I guess, like if you like, it's more unconscious. Like I think Taylor said, like the lighter pigmentation, like a skin you have, like the more like biased you feel like towards like positive, like can get away with more, I think.
Do you think that, does it matter? How much does it matter? So Isabella, how much does it matter that, hey, by the way, can I just say something here really to the class? So I know Joy's looking to bring somebody else on, but I'd really like to have a couple more people in this call. So if you are interested, we're going to be having this conversation. We're going to dig into this whiteness thing. It'd be really nice, especially if you have a little bit more of a conservative orientation, whatever that means. I really don't know. But it'd be really nice to have a couple more people in the call. Just send an email to stream@social19.org. And Joy will take care of you, man. Hey, Isabella, can you like look at David? How much does his half Venezuelan background matter to white privilege?
I mean, like on the outside, you obviously don't look like the average like white guy, like blonde hair, whatever it is. Like you can definitely tell like there is like you are mixed with something, but you are still considered white passing. In my opinion, you may be considered white passing. Therefore, like if you were next to someone who was full Venezuelan or any South American
or Afro Venezuelan, for example.
Yeah.
There are a lot of white Venezuelans. Yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah. Is your mom white, David, really fast?
No, my mom's more I mean, she's a little bit more darker than me in like Hispanic term, but like
so she's
roughly about the same pigmentation.
Dude, can you do me a favor? Do you mind? Can you turn to the right or the left? Turn preferably the other way. Go the other way. It'll be better. I just want to look at the profile of your face. I want to see. Do you know if you have any Indian blood?
I don't think so.
Indigenous. You don't look. You don't look like it. And your nose didn't look like it. Hey, by the way, class, we're going to be talking about facial features a lot, and there really are certain facial features that that can be identified, like markers that determine our the facial morphology that are embedded into certain geographic regions of the world. It's called biogeographical ancestry work. That's what 23andMe is. Is Isabella, you did it, right? No, who said they did it? Taylor? Who did 23andMe?
Oh, that was me.
Yeah, okay. So that's based on ancestry markers, and we do a lot of markers with the face. So like when I tell David, wait, turn to the right again. Really, just give us a nice profile. Sorry, man. Look at like his nose. You got a Polish nose, by the way. You got like kind of that long. No, not a Polish nose. You got an Assyrian nose.
Yeah, my mom and I have like the same nose. Like my sister has more of like.
Wait, your mom does? Okay, so
yeah, my mom and I kind of have like that same kind of nose. I realized that like.
Okay, so it's a European nose of some sort, right? But it's not an Indian nose. So that's what I was kind of looking for. Do you have any indigenous blood? Because you do have, clearly you have, you are not 100% European white and Venezuelan. I think I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad's side was I'm supposedly part Irish and then part French.
Yeah. Dude, awesome, man. Okay, so listen, let's go back to him. So Isabella, to some degree, the outside of like the external features matter, right? Because when we talk about privilege, it's a lot is about what people can see.
Exactly.
And Taylor, to what degree, what would you say about that? Because we asked David, how's white privilege affect him? And he said, well, I don't know, because I'm half Venezuelan. Like, does that matter to you that he's half Venezuelan if he doesn't look it?
I think it matters like a little bit, but probably not to a person if they're just like seeing him and passing or don't really have a conversation, because a lot of times instances where I feel like we see the most white privilege, like getting pulled over, or you're going out somewhere and someone judges you a certain way, most of the time they're just going to base it off of how they perceive you the first time. And I think even if you are Hispanic, like if you don't have those specific features, how someone sees you in passing is probably going to be how they act with you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Mom. So let me ask this question. I mean, this is a thing, right? Yeah, I'm with you. So David, that is a thing, right? Like I don't know what privilege is. And I'm not even sure what privilege means. It means something different for everybody, right? Yeah. Like, so Taylor, did you ever say what white privilege is? You did, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know what it is, right? Like I can give you, we can look at all sorts of data and all sorts of information and all sorts of things. Brandon Travisano.
How's it going?
Where you at?
I'm in Connecticut right now.
Good for you, man. How does white privilege work in your life? Nothing like coming on the stream and being asked that question. So how does white privilege operate in your life?
I mean, I don't personally notice it. I guess maybe that's an ignorance thing. I mean, as a white person, like I understand, like in the society we live in, there's an underlying white privilege, which is like, it's not the best thing, obviously, but it's something that I think I might have picked up on.
You might have picked up on, or you might have, what? What do you mean picked up on? What do you mean by that?
I guess I just understand that some people have some extreme views and don't understand that people are just people.
Yeah.
Like I think all people are just people. Like I don't think people should be judged on skin color, but some people do.
Okay, so listen, man. Taylor, Lucas, tell Brandon what you learned in this conversation about his privilege.
It's like kind of different, like for each person, but like, I mean, like he probably has like the most privilege because he like looks like the whitest out of like all of us.
Well, what does that mean? What do you mean most privilege? So what does that?
It's like I feel like it's like either it's just like David's half Venezuelan, so that impacts his privilege in a way. So it's like if he's half Venezuelan and like Brandon's like all white, he probably has, I don't know, like, I guess he has like, doesn't have like the half Venezuelan, so he has like all the privilege, I guess.
Yeah, and he's not half Polish.
No.
We know what people think about Polas. He's definitely the most handsome of the men in the call, that's for sure. But you know, whatever.
I appreciate that. Thank you,
dude. Now listen, man. Taylor, can you say something about Brandon's privilege, man? Tell him. Here's your chance to tell the white guy, and Isabella, the two of you. Here's your chance to tell a white guy how privilege operates in his life. Go for it, man. Tell him.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to say this like in a kind of nicer way.
Dude, say it in a.
It doesn't have to be nice. It's all right.
He's a nice guy. He's the most handsome guy in the call. So you can like put him down all you want. He's still going to be the most handsome guy in the call. So besides me,
we were all lined up and there was like a white police officer from Alabama. You'd be least likely to be shot first. Like that's how I see it. And you'd probably be like least threatening in his eyes.
Dude. All right. Isabella.
I was also going to like bring up maybe like the police and everything like that. So like if you were in the car with my brother, you were driving, you're the one who had control of everything. If some reason like you guys were speeding and got pulled over by a cop, my brother would have to get out the car before you would probably have to get out the car, even if he was in the passenger seat.
Before him. Cameron, what's up?
How you doing?
Where are you at? Are you in Norway or something?
No, I'm in Philly actually. I'm at home for right now.
It's close enough. All right. He looks like Norway for Christ. Dude, tell Brandon about his white privilege, my friend.
I just feel like white privilege gives a lot of opportunities that Black people don't have. I feel
How
like
many? It's a lot, dude.
Too many to count.
All right, go ahead.
A lot of times, you know, when we apply for jobs and things, like there are like people oftentimes, I feel like they try to match like a name to, you know, a skin tone or something like that, because sometimes Black people, we have, you know, what Black people like call Black names. Yeah. And sometimes they might even look at the name and just throw your application out before even looking at your resume just because of what your name looks like.
All right. Is Cameron a Black name, by the way?
I feel like it's a unisex name. Anybody can have this name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know a white woman with that name. So, dude. So listen, Brandon, go back to you, man. What's what? By the way, none of this is true or false. Okay, this is all a conversation. So there's nothing true, false, right, wrong, whatever. We're having a conversation, right? Tell me again about your white privilege. What are you thinking about it?
I mean, after hearing what Cameron said, like, I definitely could see that happening in the world we live in. Like someone is seeing like a name and maybe it's like a stereotypically white name and maybe being more inclined to hire them. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying I totally see that happening.
Yeah. And how about you just being who you are, like what you look like? Do you ever walk around the world thinking, and this goes for you too, Lucas, do you guys ever walk around the world with this idea that you have, and I'm not saying you do, by the way, understand, I'm just having a conversation here before I tell you what I actually think. Do you ever walk around the world? Do you walk through the world day in and day out thinking like, yeah, I got a certain amount of white privilege here?
It's not something I really think about. I'll be honest. Like, it's not like I'm not ignorant to it. It's just not something I think about.
I got you.
Yeah.
Lucas, how about you?
Yeah, it's like I don't go every day like thinking like, oh yeah, I have like privilege, but I just kind of like, it's like I know it exists, but like when I'm just going around my day, I just like it's not like present to me because it's like not really affecting me. Like it like affects other people, so it just kind of goes like the back of the mind.
Yeah. Cameron, what do you think about that? They're not like thinking about it every day.
I can respect that answer because they're like acknowledging like it. For me, acknowledgement is everything. They acknowledge that it is a thing. Oftentimes what I have a problem with is the people that act like it doesn't exist.
Well,
So-
here, let me. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Let me actually help you better. Are you right-handed?
Yes.
Anybody left-handed? Any of you?
I'm ambidextrous.
Yeah, I can do both certain things.
All right. Okay. So you can imagine. So like Cameron, for example, do you ever think about being left? Like when you walk into a classroom, do you think about, all right, man, where are the left-handed desks?
No, because I'm right.
Well, when you like get into a car and you get the transmission levers on the right and it's not on. Do you ever think like, it's a good thing this is on the right, man, because that's where I'm at. Like this is pretty cool. Or I don't know, any million other things.
I mean, sometimes like, because random thoughts just pop into your head sometimes, but not like a constant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of how it is in being white. It's a lot like that. Yeah. So when I think about you, Brandon, or when I think about me as a white guy, I'm thinking about me. That it's like I think about it, but I don't think about it any more than I think about being the right-handed privilege. Just like these other things about me that I'm able to walk. It's like, whoa, man, that I'm not disabled. I'm able to walk. There are also that I have the eyesight that I have. That I'm right. All sorts of things that it's about being in the majority. And when you're in the majority, it's like fish being in water. The fish doesn't know it's in water. So, you can't expect the fish to know it's in water. It doesn't know it's in water. And so the fish is just like living its life. And that's what it's like being in the majority. You don't really realize it. It's like being a man. You're not thinking about when you guys walk across campus, like Lucas, for example, when you walk across campus, do you ever think about being, I don't know, like it's late at night? Do you ever think about being alone and what that means? And how often do you think about that? Hey, I'm walking alone. It's at night. I better stay near the lights.
Not really. Like, like
do you, yeah,
in the back, like I don't know.
Cameron, how about you?
I'm from Philly, so like my guard is always up wherever I am.
Yeah,
so,
that's a little different, man. Yeah. Like I walk across campus and I watch women all the time. I rarely, when I'm on campus at night and I see a woman walking alone on campus, 99% of the time she is on her phone. And 75% of the 99% of the time, she's not even talking to anybody. She's just on her phone. So it looks like she's on her. Well, I don't know if she is. I know lots of women tell me they're not on their phones, but 99.9% of the time she's on her phone. And I'm like, damn, I'm never on my phone because I'm never thinking about what's going to happen. Right. Hey, dude, Dylan.
Yeah, what's up?
What's happening, man? Where are you?
I'm at home right now.
Good for you, man. Where's home?
It's Northern Virginia, like 10 minutes outside DC.
Dude, Taylor, meet Dylan.
Hey.
What's up, man? Sean, how about you?
Hey, how's it going? What was the question?
Where are you from?
Originally Pittsburgh, PA, but in State College right now.
Yeah. All right, dude. State College. Killing it. All right. So listen, man, here's the question I have. We're talking about white privilege, right? And here's what I'm going to ask Sean this, because you just got on. You might as well just baptize you into the question. What do white people? Wait, Sean? Are you a little bit conservative?
Leaning, a little more right leaning.
Yeah, whatever that means. What's that mean?
All relative.
Yeah, relative to like true conservatism, like libertarian conservatism, not this fake stuff like Donald Trump nonsense. Yeah. All right, Dylan, how about you?
Could you repeat that again?
Do you have any conservative ideas, just by chance?
I feel like I'm more in the middle.
Oh God. Okay, boring middle guy. All right, dude. We'll still leave you in the call. That's all right, man. So, Sean, let me ask you this, man. What do white people have to do that most black and brown people would allow them to feel like they're really making progress?
In what sense?
Race progress, man. Like we're making advances, we're moving along. What do white people need to do? You, like as an individual, as a white guy, you and Lucas and Brandon, what do you guys have to do in order that people like Cameron and Taylor and Isabella and, we'll throw Dylan into this too, and the Venezuelan side of David, what that they would feel like, hey, man, we're making progress. What do white people need to do?
Coming back to Cameron's point earlier, he mentioned the point of, sometimes being discriminated upon in regards to the professional setting. So I feel like some big strides can be made in people with position of power. And we saw how much or how little strides were made when Trump was in office, considering he had such a big say in it and he kind of took a few steps backwards. But hang
on a second. How did he take a few steps backwards?
It seemed like in regards to racial equality, he was not more progressive in that sense.
Okay, so hang on a second. So when you first said that, you said he took a few steps backwards. The second time you said it, you said it seemed like he did. Right? So did he either do it or did he seem like he did it? And if you say he did it, I'm going to ask you for a concrete example, my friend.
When looking at it from the outside, it seemed like he didn't unite the country in the way that he said he would.
Yeah. Okay, man. All right. He didn't unite the country in the way he said he would. Hey, wait. Hey, Joy, we can't have anybody else in here. We can. It's all right. Dylan, what could white people do? So take a look at Sean and take a look at Brandon and take a look at Lucas. What could they do that would lead for you and other black and brown people to feel like, yeah, we're making some progress?
Like personally, I don't think like it's anything like they could do. I think it's like much higher ups, meaning like, I don't know, for example, like when I go to like the airport or something, like I feel like through like security checks and all that, it's so much easier for like white people to go through and like not have any of these like random security checks than it is for like, let's say, a person of color.
Yeah. Do you know that, dude? I go through a lot of airports, my friend.
I mean, like I had one instance where they said I had a like bunch of wires where it was only my iPhone cable.
Yeah.
Like it was way past security, like when I was about to board the flight.
Yeah.
Like they would just, So I don't know.
Okay. So, all right. So we have this idea. So wait. So therefore, hang on. So are you saying that Brandon and Sean and Lucas, for example, are not responsible? They can just go on in life and not think about shit. Like, this is good, man. I got this white privilege thing going on. It's like all good.
I mean, no.
Cameron's thinking that.
I just say like more like, I don't know how to say it, but it's like more, I don't know, like treat people like equal and like stuff like that. Just like, I don't know, treat people how you want to be treated. And
dude, okay, hang on. So listen, if you're listening, watch, understand that what I'm pushing for is actually some really concrete things, right? Because as a white guy, I'm hearing black and brown people telling me all sorts of stuff about my white privilege and this and that and things white people need to do, and white people do this and white people do that. But I'm like, okay, now's your opportunity, man. Tell me what I got to do as a white guy, because like I'm confused. I keep hearing this stuff. Like Sean's heard it his whole life, and Brandon, we just talked all about Brandon's white privilege. Look at this guy up in Connecticut. My God, he's got all this white privilege, man. Cameron, what's he got to do, man? Tell white people, this is your chance. Like, what do we got to do? What do I got to do?
I think what could be done is a lot more listening.
Okay, listening.
Listening
got it.
to more of some of the like changes or things that we feel like we need as far as like representation and things like that.
Okay, so hang on. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep hearing. So we're listening right now. So we are listening. Now tell us what we have to do.
I would just say just join the fight. Just stand next to the black people that are fighting for these rights. And for right now, I feel like we just need support. because I feel like we're already doing the grunt work to get there. I feel like we just need support because I feel like people that aren't around black people, aren't regularly around black people, which there are a lot of people that aren't. Like you live in neighborhoods that where there aren't black people. I feel like sometimes it's like they don't understand where we're coming from because they don't know anything about us. So I feel like the people that do know, right, the white people that do know black people, I feel like if they stand together, then it's like, okay, well, I see somebody else that looks like me and they're helping out this particular group of people. Maybe they see something that I don't see.
Yeah. Okay, man. All right. Hang on. Nathaniel, let me ask you, how's it going, man?
Going good, man. How about you?
Dude, I'm killing it. What do you do day in and day out about your white privilege?
And what do you mean?
Like, what do you do to like, how much do you, first off, do you feel like you have white privilege?
Personally, no. I could see how I have wealth privilege, or perhaps born into a family that provided me with the tools to push me further in society, like to college. But I don't think that those tools were given to me or to my family necessarily because of the color on their skin.
Okay. All right. Got you. So wait, so hang on. So wealth privilege and white privilege. So Sammy.
What's up, Sam?
What's up again, man? How's Edison? Listen, do you think does Nathaniel have white privilege, man?
Okay.
He thinks he doesn't.
So, like, as a brown person, I would say that I think what Cameron was trying to say is like, yeah, like white people do have privileges, but it's what they got to acknowledge, right? Like, I'm not saying that, like, me personally, I feel like Nathaniel or any other white person should be like, I'm sorry for having the privileges that I do, but it's acknowledging that how they're more privileged than the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think it's like their fault. You know what I mean? It's like it's because we're in a country that was founded by white people, and like just like the systems that have been going on, right? And that's my opinion. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this, man. Yeah. Sammy, you have wealth privilege, right?
Because I live in Edison.
Dude, you're going to Penn State you're from out of state.
Yeah.
You know, you just were back in India a few weeks ago. I mean, you got a lot of wealth privilege. Okay. Right?
That is true. I would say I'm pretty wealthy, yeah.
All right. So what would you say to look at Lucas up here, man? Lucas is like, he's Polish, dude. He doesn't, Lucas, what's your class? What's your social class?
Middle, maybe.
Like, so listen, trust me, Sammy, Lucas isn't close to your income bracket. Okay. All right. So just hold tight for a second, man. Taylor, by the way, you're coming from Northern Virginia, out of state too, but we'll skip to you in a second. We're going to stick with Sammy here. Comes from a pretty wealthy family, right? Relatively speaking.
Okay.
Who would you rather be, Taylor? Lucas or Sammy?
I'd still rather be Lucas.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Dude, you know how much money this dude has? Like, come on, man.
I'm not that into like money and material things as much.
All right, hang on. I'm going to ask Cameron, who you want to be, man? Sammy or Lucas, my friend?
I say Lucas only because I say Lucas only because there's I feel like,
dude, come on, man.
I don't know. Listen.
Okay, hang on. Here's what we're gonna do. You ready? How about the person? Here we go. I'm gonna make it easier for the two of you. How about this? When we're back in classes, when you guys get back up here to Penn State, show up at one of the classroom buildings at 12 midnight, and that's when the night shift of janitors comes on. And they start cleaning the bathrooms. And these are all white people. And they live right outside of State College, all of them. None of them live in State College because they can't afford houses in State College. So they live right outside of State College. If they live in State College, they would have lived in one of the really neighborhoods with really small houses. So, white people, would you rather be them or rather be Sammy? They're white. They're really white, my friends. Who would you rather be? Anybody?
I'd rather be Sammy personally.
I'd be Sam as well.
Yeah, I think so too.
Dude, Isabella, how about you?
Well, I feel like money can get you out of a lot of situations. Therefore, I would have to be Sammy.
That's what I hear. That's why black and brown people all want to make a lot of money. That's what I'm hearing from people. You know what I mean? I want to make money. I want to give it back, right? Not everybody. Taylor, not everybody lives for money. I don't live for money. Dude, is it Karan? Karan?
I'll say it the proper way if you could try to say it. It's Gara.
Karan.
Yeah.
So you're from India also, unless you're.
Yeah, my parents are from India.
Dude, they have money? Are you rich too?
No, I'm not rich. I'm middle.
But wait, what part of where are you from, bro?
Gujarat.
Okay.
All right, got it. So, Karan, how about you? Would you rather be white and poorer, or would you rather be yourself and have wealth and have money?
I don't. To me, the only color that matters is money. So money.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the thing, right? So, I mean, this is one of the things that we're really struggling with, right? I mean, it's honestly, we talk about like white privilege. What's fascinating is we talk about this white privilege, and I'm not. Listen, first off, Cameron, you gave someone gave the example of like jobs and job interviews. So here, somebody did a study. They sent out the two different resumes to 5,000 places. Two different resumes, 5,000 places. All they did was they changed the name on the resume. Everything else was the same. One had a black sounding name, then they had Hispanic sounding names, and then they had white sounding names. So like, I don't know, what's a white sounding name? Whitney. That's a white. What? Whitney Houston. That's not okay, but nonetheless, Whitney tends to be a white name. You get white names, right? So you get white sounding names and then black and brown sounding names. And the white sounding names, Cameron, I think it was you. Are you the one that said this? Got 50% more responses than the black sounding names and the Hispanic sounding names, right? So that's white privilege. That's not skin white privilege. That's just give yourself a white name, whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, it is white privilege. It's the privilege. It shows you where we're at. Okay. So what's the problem with race relations in the United States, man? Karan. Let me ask you, what's the problem with race relations in the United States?
It has to do with like a lot of, I think, comes down to money and like socioeconomic problems and stuff like that. I think that's what it all has to deal with.
You think it's all about money?
Well, a major aspect of it is, yeah.
Nathaniel, how about you, man? What's the problem with race relations in the United States?
I think a lot of it is based off of just basic disparities between the races, in which a lot of people look at and say that implies systemic racism, for one.
So meaning that what there's keep going.
I was just going to say that's like the main problem. It's whenever I look at BLM supporters or anybody pushing towards that, like against that disparity, that's usually what I assume is like the main issue here.
It's economic disparity. Okay, so let me ask you this question. How much disparity is there in the United States between racial groups?
A lot. It depends when you look at it. I remember one study, I think it was 2014, said like the average white was like 60,000 something versus the average black being the 30,000s, which obviously is very like crazy. But then you also look at even disparities between other races as well. Like Asian Americans, I believe, are much higher than whites, which is interesting as well. Same thing with, I believe, Indian.
Wait, so you walk through the world with this idea that there are these racial disparities between black and brown people on average, and white people.
Yeah.
So so listen, man, I want to go back to those of you. So what you want white people to do is to be aware of it, right? That's the first thing. So he's aware of it. So like, he's okay. He's all right. He's taking the first step. Is that right? Taylor, let me ask you, is that cool? Like Nathaniel did like the first thing, like he's aware of it, man. He just said like, yeah, there's like economic disparity between racial groups.
I think it's great that he's aware of it. But for me personally, I think that it comes down to the fact that there are so many people who are sheltered. Like they're only stuck with their family or their specific community. So they only get one perspective. And even if they have the opportunity to really understand, like by talking to other people, you're never going to truly understand or really be able to like get deeper into it without seeing it for yourself, without experiencing it for yourself. And like, personally, one thing that I remember was I didn't realize I had light skin privilege until I traveled somewhere where I was the lightest skinned person. And then I realized, I'm different than the rest of these people, even though we're all considered Black. Like, I think it's yes, you need to understand, and yes, you need to like realize that, but you also need to like take some action and like go just beyond wherever you're from or wherever you're comfortable and like be uncomfortable a little bit, like go to those places.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Hey, by the way, Top Hat's going to be up in about 15 seconds. So if you guys are on the call, do me a favor, man. Just answer the Top Hat question. Those of you who are in the Zoom meeting right now. So Taylor, let me ask you, before you do that though, you ever been to like a place like Haiti?
I haven't been to Haiti, but I have been to several places in Africa.
Like where?
Cameroon was one of them.
Dude, so you understand how much American privilege you have?
Yes.
How much essentially white privilege? Because in Cameroon, by many people, we would be considered white because you're American.
Yeah.
Right? Like by the way, Cameron, even if you went, Cameron, my friend, who is not light skinned, if you went to West Africa and you started as soon as people know you're American, a lot of people are going to start referring to you as a white guy because it's like white American. It's just the same. It's a thing, right? So just want to. Okay, so Taylor, so you see like how much incredible privilege you have. Yeah. How does that affect you? Like, tell Sean how that affects you. Like you as a Black woman in America, like, oh my God, I have so much privilege. No, actually, do me a favor. Tell Cameron how much privilege he has.
I feel like when you're in America, because we're like in an environment where I feel like we're very sheltered. We don't get to see the true nature of like other countries. I think that we don't realize that we are still given opportunities, even if they're not as good as maybe people who are lighter skinned than us. And we still are able, like, we can speak out against it. We can help educate other people. Like when you go to Africa, especially like South Africa, you don't get the chance to speak out about it. Your government is literally trying to silence you at all times. And we are at least given the opportunity to change that by speaking about it. Like in this class, for instance. And
dude, yeah, but it's beyond that. It's about just a wealth.
Yeah, like
right?
Even though I'm African American, we're both sitting here in this class at Penn State, which is not a like cheap school. That's a privilege in itself.
Cameron, do you have a quick thought on that?
Like
if I took you to Haiti with me, you'd be like, oh shit, right? Go ahead.
Like I see that. I see the privilege that Americans have over other countries. I acknowledge that. Mm-hmm.
So that you as an American have.
Yeah.
And that other Americans have over you. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, no question. Right? Yeah. Hey, so Sean, what are you thinking right now?
I'm thinking that I agree with, the things that Cameron said and Taylor. There's different levels of privileges that we can all experience. Some may be more despairing than others.
Different levels.
Yeah.
And how much do you have? What level are you at?
In terms of wealth privilege, probably upper middle. In terms of white privilege, I'm white and there's white privilege.
Dude, you're very white, my friend.
I'm really Irish, but I have white privilege. I have wealth privilege. Like we were talking about, American privilege. So I would say.
So what do you do with that?
I acknowledge it. I'm not ignorant about it. I try to do my best and to, acknowledge the steps that we can all take in order to kind of make those gaps smaller.
Dude, listen, man. You know what that is? That's like that thing that white liberals say. I thought you said you were kind of conservative. That's one of those things that like white liberals say that just sounds so politically correct that, it's like, great. Isabella, dude, Sean, who's upper middle class, he's really white. He's a male. He's straight. Are you straight, bro?
I am straight.
Dude, he's straight, right? Like, he acknowledges his privilege. Is that cool? Good, right? We can clap for him. We're all good because that's what we want people to do.
I mean, I think it's a step, like acknowledging that you have all of these things and that, like, but now it's like you acknowledge it, but now what are you going to do with it? Like, how are you going to help the less advantaged? And like, what are you going to do with it? I guess that's the next step.
Yeah. And then here's my next step is what's Taylor going to do with all of her privilege relative to the people that she met in Cameroon?
Well, for me, before I was like a brat when I was a kid. I literally had everything to complain about for no reason because I'm very privileged. And my dad would take me to places or send me to places. And I realized that I really need to shut up because I don't
have... So you are rich, right? Like
No. I'm not rich. The government pays for just about everything because my dad's a veteran. But
all right, okay, I got you. All right.
I'm a military kid, so I get to travel a lot, and my dad will like make me go to a random neighborhood and stay there for something. And I realized that I just literally can't sit here and complain.
All right, okay. All right, cool. I want to go back to David. Dude. David, what are you hearing, man, about your privilege now? By the way, can I ask you a question? Is your Venezuelan side, are they rich Venezuelans, or are they like...
No, my mom used to tell me stories about her growing up, and my family right now is definitely has a lot more like opportunities than she did when she was a kid.
Okay.
Like when she was in college, she had to pretty much work. She would have to get up for work like at 8 and wouldn't finish until like 4, and then she would go to classes, and she used to tell me how she would be like so exhausted by the end of the day
because you don't
I can't even imagine doing that.
Right, exactly. So now you don't have to do that. So there's part of your like rocking and rolling, man.
Yeah, so she was definitely not on the fortunate side when she was growing up. But
all right, hey Dylan, man, I'm not bringing you on because you're gonna bring you on next class, okay? So just like I don't even want to. I'm not going to bring you back on. Like we're going to do something on India. Sammy, what do you think about that? What are you thinking about this conversation? You as a brown guy, because Penn State considers you a minority, man. You're a minority. Like you're like when we start having these conversations about the disadvantaged, oppressed, et cetera, right? Black and brown people at Penn State. This is you. You're in that group. So how do you deal with that?
Okay, well, I do feel like a minority at Penn State, which I didn't feel in Jersey. Like, like what Edison is, right? So I didn't feel like a minority where I live. But in Penn State, I definitely felt like there's not that many other brown people. But like, I didn't feel like any different. Like, I feel like at least our generation, I didn't feel oppressed. I didn't feel like I was treated differently. Like maybe it's because I'm on a higher socioeconomic level, but I don't feel personally being a minority in this country. I don't feel the
So listen though, I just want to push this, right? So Cameron, let me ask you, bro, Penn State, when we talk about the students of color, and we talk about, things that happen with like the Zoom bombing last week, and we talk about the ways in which students of color have to experience this kind of like overt racism and, all of the things that go along with that. We're including people like Sammy in that. How is that for you? Like y'all are just one group together, including the rich kids and the poor kids and everybody in between.
Like,
how are we here's my actual question. I want you to tell Nathaniel and Sean and Brandon and half of David and Lucas how we're supposed to think about that. Because I'm like, especially poor people who don't come from privilege, man, the few who are in this class, white people who don't come at all from privilege, like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. for that, I just feel like, the whole thing is just like, just see us, hear us, try to understand, where we come from when we say things like, like that's inappropriate, or that makes me feel some type of way, or that makes me feel less than. Like the Zoom bombing, like that was unacceptable. Like if anybody sees that and saw that like as like a, because one thing I noticed, like when we talked about it before, it was like, oh, like, it was like a joke or whatever. It's not, I don't see that as a joke. I see it.
No,
as,
hang on. I didn't say it was a joke.
No, not you.
Yeah, okay, I got you. I'm saying we said the kids are doing it for that. They think it's funny. Yeah,
right.
Not me.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, the whole acknowledgement factor of like it's not a joke, like it's not funny. We don't see it as a joke. Like I'm just saying, like the whole like just acknowledge like the difference. That's the first step.
Okay, acknowledge that it's different. Okay, first step. All right. I think it's like, okay, so here, let me summarize a couple. Brandon, you're going to get the final word here, by the way, since you started this in your white privilege. With your white privilege, look at all those books behind you, man, dude. You're like, here's the white guy with all the books. How do you feel about your white privilege right now?
I feel pretty terrible about it.
Oh my God, why?
Because I don't think anybody should be privileged based on the color of their skin.
How about just be privileged?
I mean,
wait, hang on, dude. Are you telling me you're privileged only based on the color of your skin?
There's some privilege there.
Yeah.
I think it'd be ignorant to say that there's no privilege there.
Yeah, there's some. But why would you feel terrible about that?
Because that's something that you can't control.
So do you feel terrible about, like Nathaniel, do you feel terrible about being right-handed? Every time you walk into a room and all the left-handed people are looking around for the 5 desks that are for left-handed people and like, what the fuck, man? Like, yeah, I'm sitting at a left-handed desk, sorry. Do you feel terrible about your white privilege? Oh, dude, you froze. Brandon, listen, man. Luke, anybody want to respond to him feeling terrible about the white privilege that he had? By the way, we're going to finish class in just a hot minute. Did you all?
You shouldn't, like, for real, you shouldn't feel bad.
Yeah.
I agree.
What should he feel, though?
You were born white, and, like, yes, you were automatically born with that privilege, but we all have privilege. Life's a hierarchy. Like, someone has to be at the top, someone has to be at the bottom. You can't feel bad about what place you were, because, I mean, at least in terms of being white or black, like, you didn't get to choose that. As long as you aren't trying to make other people feel bad about where they are, and you still acknowledge the fact that, like, you're different, like, you shouldn't feel bad about it. Like, I wish I was white sometimes.
So do you just go to Haiti, my friend. You'll be all right. You'll be white enough once they know you're an American. So that's like, you shouldn't feel bad about being a rich American if you're walking next to me down the street in Port-au-Prince. You're like, yeah, okay. Yeah. I didn't choose to be American. Like, here I am. Like, what can I do about that?
Oh, and can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, dude.
And for me, I feel like the whole like term like white privilege, like it's like just like, yes, you have the privilege, but we don't want you to, like, certain people, like, you don't know you have the privilege. So like, we don't want you to feel bad, but we just want you, and that's not to say that you didn't work hard to get there either. That's something else that I always hear. That's not saying that you didn't do the work to get there. We're just saying that your journey may have been a little easier than ours.
Dude, or it may be. Like, you know, when you maybe get pulled over by the police or who knows why. I mean, there are all sorts of things. There are a lot of things that we'll talk about through this class. Okay, so here's the lesson I'm remembering, right? Hey, here's what I'm taking out of this thing. First, the reason I really wanted to have this conversation is because I really want people to hear the complexities of the thinking. It's not just, we throw a term like white privilege out. This is a loaded term. It is packed with so much stuff. Right? That's why I'm pushing you, Taylor, about your like American privilege. It's like, there's so much stuff. It's not equal. They're very different things, but it doesn't matter. Like it's important that we put all these kinds of things on the table and that we see that, you know, sometimes people, Cameron, are just saying like, yeah, you have white privilege and like all this stuff. It's like, wait a minute, hang on a second. What do you mean by that? Like, what are we really talking about? So I think for me, we're going to keep a dimension of this conversation going because we're going to talk about inequity next week and talk about what that means. But, it's good. Karan, so we're going to plan to come back on. I'd like to have you back on. All right, dude. Anyone have any final thoughts? We got to get out of here. We're 5 minutes late, but whatever. You can get off the stream at this point if you feel like it. What's that?
I have some final thoughts, and it doesn't have anything to do with this conversation.
Dude, kick the hoop woman. Kick your thoughts out.
So I just want to say for everyone that the block 2 is now open on the registration site. Remember, only one group every 2 weeks. But check your email. You should have one. I know there was a little confusion with the 2 emails from the last time. Get your global in, get your local in. It is now time to get your second dialogue in. At this point, everyone should be getting their second dialogue in.
Yeah, and most people are going to be doing locals because remember, there's only 1/6 of the seats for the whole semester are for globals. But if you can get into a global, get into the global. All right. Hey, anybody have any final words they want to kick out? Nathaniel, do you have anything?
I do not.
Dude, killing it, man. Karan, do you have something?
This has like been a lot to think about, so I'm just kind of voice my thoughts. It's just like my skin color is like it affects like the opportunities I have in life. It makes some things harder for me.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not that it's impossible to achieve certain things. It's just harder than like for you example, since you're white. I mean, I'm not trying to like say anything like explicitly, but like both of us might try to do something. It might be easier for you. I'm not saying that it will be. It might be.
Yeah, it might be, man. No, the chant there. Look, we see this whiteness woven into lots of things in very subtle ways. It's not easy to measure, but it really is everywhere. I think it might have been Cameron or Isabella said it that earlier on. It's woven everywhere. We live in this race classist society, and sometimes it's really in play, and sometimes it's just barely in play, and sometimes it's not in play. And it's trying to figure out when it is. That matters.
It has to do a lot with like history, like imperialism and all that's gone on in the past. And it's all just resonating to today.
Dude, totally, man.
Yeah, I have a question for Karan.
Go ahead, man.
Wait, Karan, you believe that because Sam is white, he just like him trying to become like to a certain level, those steps are just easier from the start? Or you just believe because he's white that people accept him more?
Maybe a little bit
like
of both.
the past and imperial. Like, what's your opinion on that?
So like, I'm not saying that at all times life will be easier for him. It's just certain times it will be, certain times it won't be, and same for me. But I feel like on average it might be harder for me, if that makes sense to you.
In what ways would it be harder?
Dude,
I'm just
awesome
just
question,
like a lot.
What's that? Say that. Answer that again.
I feel like he's smart. I want to know what he's thinking.
So like, let's say we both apply for a job, right? There's someone in charge of picking one of us. He might feel more familiar with Sam because he's white. That's someone he can relate to. He might have a hard time adjusting to me coming from like an Indian background. He might want someone on his team that gets along with him, and it'll be hard to like fit in for me. So he might just have to make that choice, which is more efficient at that time, to just pick Sam versus me. And it's not like, it's just a lot of things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of things like that. Lucas, do you buy that?
Oh yeah, I think it's like very plausible that it's like, so it's like if I'm like Polish and I see a Polish guy coming as like for a job, like I'm probably gonna be like already, you know, in like the same way, like, but like, so
Totally.
like I'm like, you know, it's like well to change, and that might like impact like who I'm like, it's like who am I hire?
Yeah. I mean, this is the stuff, right? We do lots of research on this. We have a pretty good idea that it's in play. Sean, did you have anything you wanted to kick out? You didn't get a chance to say a lot. Or David, just
Oh no, I just appreciated the different points of views and how the acknowledged first step was to just really listen, and there wasn't anything erroneous. It was just simply listen and try to be progressive and just be open minded.
Yeah, and try not to be dumb. Let's all also try not to be dumb about it, right? Like just take these slogans about like, oh, I have white privilege. I'm a white guy. I have white privilege. It's like, what the fuck? What does that mean, man? Really? You know what I mean? Like, so let's all also try to be really smart about it. And Brandon, don't feel bad about it, about being white. You know what I mean? Damn, feel bad about the fact that you'll never probably read all those books behind you. You can feel bad about that, but whatever.
I agree. Brandon shouldn't be frenasled by everything.
Yeah. All right, man. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? Class is over, really. People are still watching, so like whatever they can watch. I could go on for another 2 hours. But any final thoughts? Isabella, do you got to say anything? Feel like you want to kick a final thing out?
No, I'm good. I think I've said enough.
Dude, you killed it, man. David?
No, just thank you for bringing me on today. Good talk.
Dude, yeah, it's good, man. We'll talk about Hispanics and Latinos or Latinx at some point. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, man. Final thought, Taylor?
No, not really.
The military brat, right?
Hey, I'm also like only here because of my dad, like using the GI Bill. So I definitely get what Taylor's saying.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah. What was your dad in? What service?
The Navy for 30 years.
30 years in the Navy. Damn. Did you travel around the world with him?
No, my parents aren't together, but my stepdad was in the Army. So
Yeah.
like we traveled with him.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
I lived in Italy for 3 years.
Uh-huh.
And then like we went to Germany, and then like we came back stateside. So we were in Alabama and then Virginia.
Damn, Germany to Alabama.
Yeah. It was a weird change, but I was like, wait, I don't like this.
Wait, you were in Italy for 3 years. You speak Italian?
No, I did a little bit because I was young. I was in 3rd through 6th grade.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I was able to kind of pick up a little bit, but now not being like surrounded by it every day,
Yeah,
it's
got ya.
completely different.
Yeah. And Taylor, where have you been?
I was born in Maryland, moved to Germany when I was super, super young. 2nd grade, was in South Korea, came back to Virginia, and then my dad retired.
Yeah. What was he in?
He was in the Army.
Yeah. Dude, awesome, man. All right, y'all. I guess we can just end it. Like, we're good. Listen, have a safe weekend. Be well. And did you all do the top hat thing? We all good? Right?
Yeah.
You got it done?
Yeah.
It's easy, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
On your
App's a
phone?
lot easier. Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, you can't believe how many people are like, oh, I missed the top hat. I'm like, come on, man.
It's like 2 minutes. There's
Dude.
so much time.
You know why? It's because people try to do it without watching the stream. And then, like, what are you going to do, man? All right, well, listen, I enjoyed the conversation. I thought it was really nice. And we're going to dig back into these issues, and I'll show some slides and show some data, and we'll jump back in. Really, thanks for being on. I really appreciated it. And you understand that for me, I'm trying to, like, when I hear these conversations about inequity, I think too often people, we know what the kind of the words are, the slogans or the statements, but then we don't go what's really underneath them. And that's what I'm trying to do all the time. It's like, hang on, let's just all get really smarter about it, because there is this thing called white privilege, and it is real, and it's there, and it's in operation all the time. But the degree to which it's in operation, to really understand it, we have to unpack it and really feel it. So I taught the African American Studies 409 class, the race and inequality in America, for 13 years actually here. So I'm like really steeped in the inequalities issues. Okay, y'all, thanks for being on. Be well and be safe and have a good weekend. And Sammy, make sure you, when it gets around to it, apply to TA.
I'm
Any
down.
of you guys, but this guy's a natural, man. Karan, are you Indian American, or are you from India?
Yeah, I'm Indian American too.
Yeah. From where? Where do you live?
I live in Island, so it's also an Edison area.
Dude, come on, half the Indians in America live.
Yeah, it's
Island.
like Edison's on the map for all these calls for all of us Indians.
Wait, you live in Island?
Yeah.
What part?
I live off Middlesex.
Oh, like by Kenny Park?
Yeah.
No way. I live like down the street.
Oh shit, we have to link
Dude,
up.
you guys.
Oh,
look
that's
at
crazy.
Dude, are you guys coming back up next week?
Yeah, I'm moving Monday.
Yeah. Do your parents, do your moms, probably moms, do they bake bread at all? Like naan and paratha and stuff?
My mom
Yeah.
makes dipla, if you know what that is.
What is it?
Dipla. It's like a naan bread. I'll bring you some.
Dude, bring me some. Drop it off at Pond next Tuesday.
Alright.
When you come, we were there on Tuesday and Thursday. I just
Ooh.
made some killer chicken tikka, but I can't get the bread, man. I can't make the bread.
You want
so-
naan? I'll bring you some.
Yeah, bring me some good naan. Dude. Cameron, have you had, do you like Indian food?
I've never had Indian food. I always wanted
Oh,
to try it.
damn, man. Come on. We have an awesome we have some really good Indian restaurants in town, in State College.
What's
So
the name?
you got a lot of them in Philly, man. I've eaten at several of them.
See, I just like to stick to what I know, but I'm open to trying stuff.
Dude, what do you know that you like?
I like Chinese food.
All right. I got you, man. Dude, you somehow look like you'd like Chinese food. You know what they call Chinese food in China?
Food.
It's food.
American food.
Just food.
Dude, they don't even eat like that stuff, like that type of stuff.
Yeah. What else do you like, man?
I like soul food, Jamaican food.
Yeah. All right.
You should try Korean barbecue. It's really good.
I've heard.
Totally, man.
You gotta try Middle Eastern food.
Listen, but let me say something about Poles. So we used to live in Poland. The Polish are the best